Hi there. I remember years ago I used to hear about some creatures that have supernatural powers. For instance, they can cross the wall, see into the hidden interior of things, and even being able to appear and disappear abruptly. And guess what? This could be possible, but in a higher dimension. The world we live in is called 3D world, which means that it's made up of three things: length, width, and height. So can our brains perceive a fourth dimension? Actually, it's way too difficult to represent it in our physical world. However, nothing precludes mathematically from imagining an abstract space that has four dimensions. We can define the three-dimensional world using three directions or three lines, each at a right angle to each other. So it's possible to move from left to right, front to back, or up and down. So what about four-dimensional world? No matter how we try in our 3D universe, we can't lay out four or more directions that will interact perpendicularly. In order to understand the construction of the fourth dimension and how to move from a third to a fourth dimension, we only need to understand the way we move from a second to a third dimension and then apply the same logic. Try to picture what it would be like to live in the surface of a sheet of paper. You can no longer jump up or down off the paper because up and down don't exist to you anymore. And this is the premise of Edwin Abbott's novella Flatland that describes a two-dimensional world occupied by geometry figures. Once a sphere shows up in Flatland, here's what it looks like when the sphere passes through Flatland from a square perspective, and this astonishes his little mind. It looks like a series of circles that grew bigger and then shrank smaller again. In the same way, we'll never be able to physically see how a 4D object looks like. The equivalence of a sphere in the fourth dimension is what we call a hypersphere. According to the foregoing, if ever a hypersphere crosses our 3D space, we'll see a simple sphere which constitutes only a single slice of the hypersphere. Now let's try to visualize a hypercube. Unfortunately, I can't show you a 4D object since we live in a 3D world, but since there are 3D objects represented in 2D, we can make a 4D to 3D analogy. All I'm gonna do is to draw two cubes and then connect between them. And this is called a tesseract. From another perspective, we can draw this. And finally, that may explain the dark matter that makes most of the matter in the universe. It has gravity, but it's invisible. Maybe it's nothing but an ordinary 4D galaxy hovering just above us.